Hello there YouTube. Now, in today's day and age, a lot of us rely on DSLR video, whether it's for wedding, whether it's for documentary. But we know that it has its cons and it has its pros. Pros being you have a wide selection of lenses, which absolutely changes the look of your shot, to even the quality they produce. But the cons are that they have very terrible sound because of the terrible cheap amps that have been built into them. But you can conquer these problems very easily. Now, the rig I use took some time, research, and some planning to see whether it would work. But it was a rig that I put together over several months, which I really don't regret buying. Well, this is it. So this is my rig. It's pretty much rigged up, and it describes the word of a rig. As you can see, it's an offset rig already. At the moment I've got on the rig 5D Mark III, and I've got the lens, which is a Tamron 24 to 70 2.8, and it's a very good lens, very good depth of field. So moving on to the rig, what rig is it, you may ask? It's a Proaim C120 rig. It's a DSLR rig. It's made out of 15mm rails, aluminium, very solid construction. It feels very rigid. Now my rig, you may ask, I don't know why I switched on the light, what it is and how I've constructed it. Basically, as I was saying, about the cons we have in a DSLR. These are, you have very terrible sound in DSLRs. So I've conquered this problem very easily. We will go into that in a moment, but let's start with the rig. So it's an offset rig, which puts the rig directly in my face. And the reason why I like this particular setup, having an offset, is because of the viewfinder. You can have a viewfinder, and having a viewfinder is an excellent thing when you're shooting outdoors in the sun. I shoot a lot of documentaries in the daytime, and the sun can be a problem because you can't see your shot, you can't see if it's focused. You've got all these issues with it. So this viewfinder is pretty good. It's not a Zacuto one, it's just one I picked up off eBay. It's magnetic, so there's no sticking on the screen. I hate those viewfinders where you stick a frame onto the screen. It's terrible. So it's actually the viewfinder I'm using is it's called Camera QV1. It's an excellent viewfinder. It's Nikon and Canon friendly, so you could put it onto either cameras. And the clarity through the viewfinder is really good. I mean, for what you're paying, it's fab. And also it's just really stable when you put it towards your eyes. As you can see right now, I've got it towards my eye. I've got very stable shot here. It's very stable. I keep my arms really nicely inside, so I get this really good stability when I'm shooting. Moving on to this light piece here. Now, you may find yourself in a situation where you need a light. This light is a LED light. It's got 160 little LEDs in there, and it's on the side. It's from Amazon. It's from Newer, I think. That's the brand that makes these lights. And I've got it onto a universal Cavi light bracket, which has a 15mm mount, so you could plug this, not plug, but screw it directly onto your rails. It's got a backward and forth tilt position, so you could tilt it back and forth. And it doesn't even come in the way of your shot. So it's just on the side, sitting there nicely whenever you need the light. I mean, you could put it on when you want it, so you can take off the weight. So the camera, obviously, I said earlier, it's 5D Mark III. It's a fabulous camera. The shots you get with it are really good. Now on here, I have a mount, a V-mount bracket. The reason you may be wondering why I've put a bracket on, because I don't have two attachments. So why do I need a bracket to put two attachments on? The reason why is, first, it gives my microphone height. So giving my microphone height, I hardly get any handling noise with the lens. Also, you don't hear any of that image stabilization that some lenses have, where you get this really terrible sound coming from the lens. You don't get that because it's got so much height. It doesn't. I've used a standard shock mount for the microphone. So the microphone is inserted into a shock mount. It's a Rode NTG2 microphone. The clarity of this microphone is perfect. It's fantastic. The sound is really good. And you may be wondering, how the hell have I rigged that up into my DSLR? I'm using a Rode NTG2, yes, in my DSLR. The question for that is, here I have a big boy called the Zoom H6. I've got all my my XLR mounts in here, so I could plug in wireless microphones to any other microphones that have an XLR input. So sometimes, you know, I may need a boom operator when I'm doing a shoot, so I can get a longer cable, just unplug this out, put this onto a boom, plug this into here, and put a line out cable, which is a 3.5mm jack, into here, in the camera, into the zoom, and whatever sound is going into the Zoom H6 will come into the Canon 5D Mark III. So it replaces the sound that's in the video with the sound that's coming out of the H6. So it's really, really good. The Zoom H6 is mounted with a 15mm bracket to a 1/4 mount. So this allows you to add accessories onto a female 1/4 mount. So you can add anything which has a female hole on a 1/4 onto the rails. Overall, what I could say about this rig, I've used it nearly a year. It costs somewhere to between, including everything that you see on this rig, you know, from the lights to the sound to the batteries, everything you see on the rig costs somewhere about £3,200 to £3,500. That's just a guess on top of my head. I will do a list in the description with maybe all the Amazon links so you can buy any of the parts that you need. Overall, I can't recommend the rig highly enough. It's a really good rig, you know, and you know, if you're looking to get something like this, why not? Go for it. Thank you for listening. And also, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. I'm always here to answer your questions.